Today we will be looking at multiplication and division with decimal equations. Please copy down the standard Venn-Dirac indicator on a clean page in your math notebook. The student will model and solve algebraic equations. Just like with the addition and subtraction equations, when you solve decimal equations with multiplication and division, you can use mental math, and we can also use the working backwards process. So we're going to look at both of those. So in the example here, we have solve 4x equals 3 6/10. So step 1, think of the numbers as whole numbers. So think of it as 4x and 36. What number times 4 equals 36? Well, we know 4 times 9 equals 36. So then we determine where to place the decimal point. There's one decimal place in the product, 3 6/10. There should be one decimal place in one of the factors. Since there's not a decimal place in the known factor, the 4, there will be one decimal place in the value of x. So x equals 9/10. So then we check to see if the equation is true. 4 times 9/10 does equal 3 6/10. So x equals 9/10. That method, however, can get a little tricky as you get into bigger, more complicated numbers. So the other way to look at it is to get the variable by itself by reversing the operation solved. So if we have 9b equals 8 1/10, that means 9 times b equals 8 1/10. So to get the variable by itself, we're going to divide by 9 on both sides because division reverses multiplication. So 9b divided by 9 just equals b. Okay, because 9 divided by 9 is 1, so 1b is just b. And 8 1/10 divided by 9 is 9/10, so b equals 9/10. And just like we talked about yesterday, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side. Just like when making equivalent fractions, it makes sure both sides of the equation stay balanced. And then we check to see if the answer works. So does 9 times 9/10 equal 8 1/10? Yes, it does. So b is 9/10. Try it. Solve a divided by 6 equals 400. So they want us to rewrite the equation using whole numbers. So we're going to rewrite the equation a divided by 6 equals 4. Then we have to figure out what number divided by 6 equals 4. Well, we know that 24 divided by 6 equals 4. So then we look at the divisor 6 as a whole number, and there are 2 digits after the decimal point in the quotient, 400. So how many digits are after the decimal point in the dividend? We need 2 because there's 2 in the quotient, so we need 2 in the factors put together, and there's none in the 6. Which means that makes a 2400th. And then we plug it back in to check, and it does work. And again, that's the nice thing about equations. They are self-checking, so you can plug it back in, do the math, and see if it works. For f, we have 2r, so 2 times r equals 1 4/10. So to get the r by itself, because it's multiplying by the number, we're going to divide. So we're going to divide by 2 on both sides, because whatever we do to one side, we have to do the other. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, so 1r is just r. 1 4/10 divided by 2 is 7/10. So r is going to equal 7/10. For g, we have s divided by 4 equals 2 2/10. So to reverse division, we're going to multiply. So we're going to multiply by 4 on both sides to get s by itself. And then we'll multiply 2 2/10 by 4, because whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. So 2 and 2 tenths times 4 equals 8 and 8 tenths. So S equals 8 and 8 tenths. For H, we have B divided by 5 equals 5 tenths. So to get B by itself, we're going to multiply by 5. And whatever we do to one side of the equation, we have to do the other. So we're going to multiply 5 tenths by 5 as well. So B equals 2 and 5 tenths. And if we plug it back in, 2 and 5 tenths divided by 5 will equal 5 tenths. For I, we have 7 tenths times C equals 49 hundredths. So we're going to divide both sides by 7 tenths to get C by itself. And then when we do 49 hundredths divided by 7 tenths, we get 7 tenths as our answer. So C equals 7 tenths. For J, we have 1 and 5 tenths times D equals 45 hundredths. So we're going to divide by 1 and 5 tenths on both sides. So when we divide 45 hundredths by 1 and 5 tenths, we get 3 tenths. So D equals 3 tenths. For K, we have N divided by 3 equals 1 and 2 tenths. So to reverse the division, we're going to multiply by 3 to get N by itself. And then we're going to multiply 1 and 2 tenths by 3 to keep the equation equal. So 1 and 2 tenths times 3 equals 3 and 6 tenths. So N equals 3 and 6 tenths. Please make sure you have copied down all of the work and glue this page in your math notebook.